What's up, everyone? Tyler from Real Estate Investing Real Talk with my co-host, Sherwin G.
Sherwin G. How's it going, guys?
Today's episode is all about our Q1 updates. I know that sounds very technical and business-like, but we should basically, Sherwin and I just, chat about the first 3 months of the year. Everything from our personal portfolio to our business portfolio to our personal life. We talked about some current events like interest rates increasing. We didn't really touch on inflation, but we'll talk about that next time. But yeah, I think it's a really fun episode, and I always love talking to Sherwin, and hopefully you guys get some value out of this video today. But anything else I missed, Sherwin, about this episode today?
No, just hope you guys liked the episode. Thanks for supporting us and enjoy the show.
Boom.
Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Investing Real Talk Show with your hosts, Sherwin G.
And Tyler J.
You had a pause there.
Every single time I try and point to you and it's the opposite direction.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, how's it going, man?
It's been a while, man. I feel like, we got to get more consistent on this. And when I say that, and when I say we, I pretty much mean myself.
No, me too, man.
Well, I guess it's both of us.
Yeah.
No, it's been good. I got my festive shirt on today. I was kind of feeling the aloha vibes, and I don't know. I've been thinking about recently a lot of. I took a trip out to Hawaii earlier this year, and it's just such a different culture out there in a good way. I mean, I think there's balance, right? You and I are in the SF Bay Area, a lot of hustle bustle. You and myself and our peers are, working hard to build financial futures and a life of freedom, which is great, but it also causes stress in your life, right? And it causes headaches and challenges. And, you wake up sometimes at 3 a.m. thinking about XYZ problem. But I just remember when I was in Hawaii, it's the complete opposite in a way, which is good and bad. And, but they, I don't want to speak for all Hawaiians, but I love how much of a priority they put into just, family and mental health and life outside of work. So that's what I'm trying to get more of.
Yeah, it's the aloha spirit. Did you say which island did you go to? Did you go to my home island?
I went to the Big Island, but I've been to Oahu a number of times. But I just love the whole Hawaiian culture. So
yeah. I mean, I just came back. I was there in Hawaii for the holidays, and then I was just there like almost a month ago for my cousin's wedding. So it was great to kind of see the whole ohana, the whole family together. All the cousins together. My son was super excited to kind of count all the cousins that he hasn't met, and they were like, oh, they're all together. So it was a fun time. Like you said, it's great to kind of get out there and kind of recharge. And I mean, for me personally, it was great to see my parents and my other family members out there, because I live out here in the mainland. There's only so many times throughout the year that I get to see them. So I'm trying to be more conscious about that. And since I have kids now, I want to be able to have them, see my family out there as many times as I can throughout the year, whether we go there or my family comes over to visit us here in the mainland. So yeah.
Holy man. I think it's been good that, I feel like every few months you're out there and seeing family and kind of soaking up the Hawaiian culture and being with family. So that's a good routine to get into, man.
Yeah. So what else? I guess that's kind of like any other upcoming trips you got coming up, or anything else going on?
I got some work stuff coming up in my non-real estate world. So I'll be in Arizona for a little bit, and then Miami actually. So I'm looking forward to that. But with this whole kind of work from home, remote work culture, I know a lot of us have been able to have more flexibility in our lives. So I think, at least for me, I'm grateful for that and just having that flexibility. But I mean, I think it's been, as we all know, a crazy couple of years. And I think from our standpoint, you and I wanted to chat through kind of some Q1. We're going to sound technical here. Some Q1 updates on what we've been doing the last few months, whether it's in personal life or professional life. But anything up and coming in the recent near future for you, Sherwin, before we kind of hop into kind of what this we'll call it the Q1 recap looks like.
Yeah, I was gonna that was a good segue. I was gonna remind the listeners, hey, stick with us, because it's not just gonna be Tyler and I just chatting about our personal lives this whole episode. We're gonna kind of go over kind of like our real estate, I guess, portfolio, I guess, or just kind of like what we've done in the past 3 months, in this past quarter, right? And what we plan to do for maybe like the next quarter, or maybe the rest of the year, kind of our goals. And it's great having these calls with you, Tyler. And I've done it before with other investors, that it kind of holds a sense of accountability, right? Just kind of chit-chatting. What are you doing personally? What are you doing? How's your real estate portfolio going? What are you working on now? What do you plan to accomplish, in the next quarter, next month, next year, and so forth? And then we kind of had this call again, maybe next month, next 2 months, next quarter, and kind of see where we're at. And I remember what we call it's like these mastermind calls. That's what I used to call it back in the day when, before the pandemic, I used to meet with some friends, someplace in San Francisco. We would meet monthly, kind of go over our goals. And it's kind of cool because you kind of inspire each other, right? You help each other out. You kind of motivate each other to kind of take action. And it always helps when you have someone like that kind of pushing you and driving you to just take action, rather than you kind of going out on your own and really kind of being uninspired all the time. But so I guess
so what's going on in your world? I know you got a lot going on, and obviously your company, Flight is a syndicator and a syndication company, but you also have a personal portfolio similar to myself, where we kind of live in similar worlds, where we both have a personal portfolio of rental properties, and we also invest in larger syndications on, LP and GP side. Although I don't know if you've ever done an LP investment.
No, but that's actually one of my goals this quarter. So we talk about like, you and I think we talked about last year, like we've been kind of fortunate we were able to exit some of our properties last year. So we've got like, well, for me and me and my wife, we're looking to deploy some capital, just like Mr. Tyler J over there. Probably not as much as Tyler. Tyler's balling out of control. So, but
no, not even close, man.
Well, because we're you're losing money if it's in the savings, and I just hate seeing money in the savings. It's just kind of like, to me, I feel like I'm losing money, which is kind of true. So we want to reinvest that into some assets, and we're kind of looking to diversify our portfolio a little bit, right? So my wife and I look at some options. We made offers on like an 8-unit in I think it was in Sacramento. We didn't get the offer. We were like a second. But then, we weren't kind of gung ho on the property. We just wanted to get our feet wet and kind of get the ball rolling, right?
And then just to clarify again, this is your personal portfolio, right?
Yeah, it's my personal portfolio, right? But it's one of those things I want to let the listeners, let's just kind of get out there and just take action.
Yep.
See if your offer sticks, get into escrow, and then from there you can figure out the next steps and kind of move along. Because for that property, we didn't know, I didn't even go visit the property. I did a drive-by. I got inspection reports, so I didn't have the whole story. So my strategy with my broker was like, hey, let's just get this thing to escrow so we can go to the next step, and then from there we can get more analytical into the numbers, go to the site, go view the interiors, exterior, and so forth and so forth. But that didn't work out. But but we're looking to maybe expand our personal portfolio just on the side, outside of my company Flight. And we have a house we have a property in Oakland that we lived in like 2 years ago before we moved over here, and we're looking at options to maybe sell it. Right now we have a resident there right now, so it's still a bit harder. Maybe we sell it with a resident there, or maybe wait for them to leave and so forth. So we're looking at options out, because and we'll talk about maybe later on, what you think the housing market is. Is it hot? Is it cold? What do you see in your area? And especially with interest rates rising, I know that's going to be one of the topics we're going to dive into, like sort of towards the tail end of this episode. But
I'm curious though, Sherwin. So what is the main factor in potentially selling that house that you're renting right now? Like, do you feel like you need the cash? Do you feel like we're at a high peak in the market where you just want to take advantage of that price? I mean, it's probably cash flowing, right? So what's the point in you want a chunk of cash to reinvest elsewhere? Is that the main?
Well, the main reason is also because I'm trying to take advantage of that tax advantage. I forget exactly what the legal tax code number is, but it's to avoid capital gains tax, you can sell a property if you live in that property 2 out of the 5 years.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So we moved away. Actually, we're coming up to 2 years that we moved away. So I have about a year left I can sell without getting any capital gains tax because I lived in that property 2 out of the 5 years, right? So
wait, is it? It's only up to $500,000 though, right?
Correct. If you're married,
if you're married, yeah,
and up to 250 if you're single.
250 if you're single,
but it's tax free. So so I had friends who literally they move every like
couple years.
You gotta live in the house at least 2 years, and then they sell, move to the next one, sell, move to the next one. It's almost like when you're when you're job hunting, you
I was gonna say changing jobs in the tech world.
You change job and you get increase your salary and so forth. So that's sort of like the main incentive, and we still have some time. But as you know, we talked about in the show, like 2 years ago, I got let go from my job. Mm-hmm. So now I'm doing this full time. So now I got to look for options and ways to kind of feed my family and kind of build generational wealth because I don't have that steady income now. Yeah. So because of the circumstances we're in now, because of the COVID and the pandemic, it's sort of kind of like expedited kind of like this process, or kind of like where we maybe could have waited a little bit longer, but now we're like maybe this year we look at it. And now with times changing, with interest rates rising, it could be good and bad, where maybe more people would want to buy a house before interest rates go higher, or maybe people don't want to buy and wait till it goes lower. So it's kind of like it's easy, but then right now it's kind of hard because we have residents in the house, so we got to kind of play it by ear and so forth. So that's really the main goal, is sort of like I want to take out the equity and kind of reinvest that, right? And it's it's all tax free. So that's the main reason I want to take that chunk out, because the cash flow is great, but I feel I can take the capital gains and reinvest it somewhere else and build my wealth a lot quicker that way, and probably get another cash flowing or a few cash flowing properties with that equity that I can get from the house. And if that doesn't work out, maybe I'll look into a cash out refinance, or I already have a HELOC, so maybe I'll do it, or some other ways to kind of extract the capital so that I can use it elsewhere. That's the beauty about real estate, man. There's so many different strategies and so many different ways that you can kind of structure a deal or structure an exit. If this doesn't work out, you can go this way. If the market's this way, maybe you just hold, or maybe you sell. So it's kind of like, and it depends on your circumstances with your family, right? If you need a capital right away, I got to pay my kid's college fund. Okay, let's just sell and all that. So it really depends on, kind of like the state that you and your family in, or you yourself, if you're single or so forth, what works best for you at this particular time, right? So that's why we're looking into that property there, but at the same time trying to build out our portfolio, looking at other multifamily properties, and maybe participating in other syndication outside of flight, trying to go out there, maybe because I don't have any markets like in Arizona, Phoenix, where you're at, and that's already super hot there. Maybe get into like industrial syndications or something, just some type of option where I'm kind of lazy now. I don't want to manage my personal portfolio. I don't do it. My property manager does, but if I go into syndication, it's truly passive, right? I mean, you're an LP. It's just kind of like, here's my money. You guys do all the work, and I know what they do because I do it myself as a GP. So just looking at kind of diversifying my portfolio a little bit more this quarter.
I was gonna say there's a new deal that popped up. Actually, I'll forward it your way, Sherwin. I don't know if you saw it. It's out in Arizona. It looks pretty good. I'll send it your way, Sherwin.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I'd like to partner with other. I mean, the other day I had my buddy who's also an investor text me. Hey, he asked me some questions about Airbnb, how to acquire, because he wants to buy his property next door. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a place to deploy capital. If you want to partner up, I got some capital. You don't have to put out capital yourself. You manage everything. See, I'm lazy, right? You manage all the Airbnb stuff. It's in your neck of the woods, but I'll give you capital if you don't want to put all your capital in the deal. And it's stuff like that where, investors go, where do you get your deals from? Where do you find your deals? You find them through friends. You find them through families. So find them through Tyler. I'm like, hey, Tyler, if you have a deal you want to invest in, but you don't want to go in it on your own, keep me in mind. I just mentioned, hey, I got some capital to deploy. I don't mind partnering up with some people to maybe get a deal. Maybe it's a flip deal. Maybe it's a long-term hold deal. I don't know. We're just looking at options right now. So
I think that's another thing we always bring up is the whole networking aspect of real estate investing. And some people don't want to really, let their image be known as a real estate investor, or maybe they're not as confident in explaining what they want to do with their money. But yeah, if you let people know that you're a real estate investor and you have capital and these are your markets you're targeting and these are your strategies, like as you meet more people, deals will start coming your way. And it's been a very competitive market the last couple of years. And I think deal flow has been down for a lot of people, but you never know, man. And just get your name out there and make sure people are aware of what you do and what you're looking for, and deals will literally come your way.
Yeah, and that's just like my personal side. I mean, before I get to my professional, I want to hear what you've been up to in your personal kind of portfolio and professional.
Yeah. So like it's funny how you talk about expanding your personal portfolio, and I'm actually going the opposite route. Here's what I'll say. I'm not expanding, and I'm also not selling off. I'm just staying pat. So really all I have is a few units out in the Midwest in Indiana. Yeah. And they've been doing pretty well. I mean, they're cash flow positive. I bought them at I started buying in Indiana 2016. And so I still have some properties out there that are just cash flowing, but with rates dropping the last year, I did a nice cash out refi last year and pulled most of my equity out of those properties. So they're almost to that point where they're infinite returns when you pull out most of your capital. Not quite there yet, but also with the fact that inflation is rising, that's good and bad. If it's pushing rents up, I'll say that. I mean, over the last few months, I had a couple of vacancies, and I was able to raise rent in what's more of a landlord friendly state, Indiana, with no real rent control laws. I pushed one unit up, I think it's about 13.5% in 1 year, which is kind of crazy. So I'm seeing, rents are increasing. I know that rents always kind of lag almost a year because of those, 12 to 24 month leases that people have, but I'm seeing rents increase on my personal portfolio, which is great. So I'm just holding these out. And really, I think I'm, with a couple exits last year in syndication world, I have some cash that I want to deploy as well. But what I'm actually thinking about now, Sherwin, is, and this probably, honestly, I'll be honest with everyone, like this is not the best financial move from an investor mindset, but I buy
your car.
No, I don't want to buy a car yet.
Okay, sorry.
I'm actually very strongly considering buying a primary residence this year.
Oh, okay.
The issue is interest rates are rising, so I'm a little hesitant. But so I don't know. I think the investor will always go back and forth on, do I deploy this capital into an investment property that's pure investment, or do I, secure a long-term living situation? Like I've always lived in apartments. I've always rented. I'm almost in my mid-30s. And it's like, I kind of want to lock in a long-term housing situation. I also want to lock in a mortgage with, long-term debt and a fixed rate. I mean, again, interest rates are rising, but, I like the Bay Area. I have family here. So I think it's almost time to buy something here. And I also rarely have this much capital because I'm always deploying it. So it's like, when is the next time I'll have this capital to buy a primary? I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I think that's what I'm going through right now, but I've been pretty chill on the personal portfolio side of just keeping my properties in the Midwest. They're cash flowing, getting new tenants in there, and then really trying to focus on maybe buying a primary this year, as well as, I don't know if I told you this, Sherwin, I'm going to be going for my real estate license this summer as well.
Oh, yeah. So that's awesome.
Because I also, if I do buy a place, I don't want to pay another agent commission.
Now,
that's the Asian side of me, dude. That's the Asian side of me.
Yeah. But that's always like that's very a good question, like in our little towards the end of like renting versus buying, right? Because I know like Grant Cardone's like, you shouldn't buy your primary house. You should reinvest that or something, because it's a big chunk of capital you have to invest, right? And there's always two arguments, two sides. Because I know of investors that they just rent. 100% rent, and they just use whatever money they have to invest. And I know investors that do, they have their primary and they kind of do both. But I've seen that if you start, like I started with my primary, but that's how I sort of got started to building my wealth, I guess, scaling a lot quicker because of the appreciation they gained.
You bought in San Jose.
Bought in San Jose, and my loft like 2005, and then it crashed. 2008 or whatever the .com was, right? And then it went back up again. So I kind of just treaded water, and I came out on top, thankfully, and so forth. But then I was able to leverage that cash into the next investment, and then so forth. So I mean, there's different strategies, different ways to do that. So that's kind of interesting. And I wonder, like, the listeners out there, like, do you rent? Do you buy? Would you rather do this or that? And then, or what do you prefer to do? Because I always suggest, hey, house hacking is a good way to get started, right? Go buy your primary, but then live in one room, rent out the other rooms, or sleep in your living room, rent out the other room. So it's sort of an investment, but it's like your primary as well. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds to kind of get started into that.
I've considered that too. It definitely is. I'm kind of going into it knowing that if I buy a primary, I cannot see it as a pure investment because, again, you and I could deploy money elsewhere and make more money off that. But I will say, if I do buy a primary, I don't want to buy that fancy new house on the end of the block that looks amazing. I would want to try and actually put some sweat equity into it a little bit. Maybe not like, I'm not going to do a full on flip or a gut job, but maybe if it's an outdated property that needs a new kitchen and new bathrooms, like I'm going to go for that. So I don't know, man, it's a big decision, I think, to deploy that kind of capital, but especially in the Bay Area. But I also know that if I'm going to be here long-term and I buy and I hold for 10 years, it's probably going to appreciate. So I mean, that too.
I mean, you can also think of it as, I mean, it's not I always tell people, if like your first home that you buy is not going to be your forever home unless you want it to be, right? So you can think about it as an investment home because you can always buy the home, like you said, do a minor flip to force that appreciation.
Yep.
Or maybe it has room to add an ADU or has an in-law unit that you can rent out. So you're still making money. It's an investment, and you get to get the first-time home buyers a 3% rate or whatever, 3.5%, right? Advantages, all that. You get a better rate if it's owner occupied versus a rental property, right? So you can take advantage of all that, live in it for 2 years and sell. No cap gains tax. Boom, and go to the next one, right? So if you think about it as about an investment property, then the mindset's a little bit different. But again, it's always different. You can or use that chunk of capital and deploy it somewhere else where you don't have to do any of that stuff. So like you said, it depends on your goals and where you at this point of your life, right? So
totally, man. Yeah. So Sherwin, what's going on in the world of flight these days? So this is your syndication company. What are you guys doing these days? Paul and Matt.
So it's funny, like you mentioned, I'm working my personal, but I'm also working on flight as well. They're all at the same time, all concurrently, right? So this past quarter, it's actually pretty easy because I just sent out quarterly reports to all the investors. You got one, and I'm actually, and that's how we got this idea. Why don't we just go over these quarterly reports because I'm going to chat about it anyways, right? So we're rehabbing, I think right now, active like 29 units across our 8 active properties now, and we've also started kind of rehabbing some like the exterior of some of our properties. We're hoping to kind of exit before the end of the year and like maybe 1 or 2 of our properties right now. So that's all happening at the same time. But what's great is that, we have 8 properties, all these units throughout these properties being rehab at the same time. So we got to manage all of these properties. And I'm glad that I can kind of leverage, me and my partner, Paul, can kind of leverage on our architecture background where we've kind of managed different multiple projects at the same time. So this is nothing new to us at all. We're just kind of like, we've done it in our careers. So we're I guess we're comfortable with this right now. I guess sometimes stressed because, maybe we're behind schedule or not, but it's nothing that we haven't done before. Just put it that way. Right. So we're doing that right now, kind of staying after that. And speaking of kind of utilizing our kind of like our backgrounds and skills. So Matt, my third partner, he was a CPA. So using his tax and accounting background, we issued K1s to all our investors. It was a tax season. It didn't happen. It was April, but you have to prepare during the first quarter, right? So we issued K1s, and using our kind of like our background there, he coordinated with our CPA to sort of maximize the deductions for our investors, which you got your K1s, hopefully it was okay. And we did a lot of cost segregation, and I'm glad he's doing it and not me, because there's a lot of line by line item stuff that I don't want to deal with, and he has a lot of questions to go at. So
man, I look at those things and I briefly, run my eyes over them, and I kind of comprehend a few things here and there, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm reading half the time, dude.
Oh yeah, we gotta get.
And I just pass it on to my CPA, and he does his magic.
Yeah, we gotta get a CPA, maybe Matt or maybe your CPA, kind of on this show to kind of go over these deductions, because we have investors look at it and they have negative deductions. They're like, what's going on, Sherwin? I lost money. I go, no, you want negative because that's positive. You're offsetting the gains that you got. That's what's beauty about syndication, because you can still realize those offset those gains like you would in a regular real estate investment or anything. But anyway,
well, I think one of the biggest questions I had last or for this upcoming tax season or this tax season was I brought this up to you the other day, Sherwin. It's like, when you exit these syndications and you get your returned initial capital back, technically it counts as a gain on your K1. And I was like, oh, am I going to be taxed on my initial investment? But anyways, I think this is a good, we'll have a good episode, I think, on the about the world of taxes and syndications. We'll bring on a CPA or something, but
yeah. You don't want us answering those questions.
No, I don't even want to dive into that topic myself or with you either.
yeah. I know. So what else happened this quarter? Oh, we acquired a 20-unit property in South Lake Tahoe, the Blackwood apartment. So this is literally 2 properties down from our other 13-unit property that we acquired last year. So it's right down the street, and we figured, oh, this opportunity came along. We're partnered up with a construction company that actually was an investor interested in investing with us, and he brought the deal to us. I was like, hey, let's partner up in a deal, which is great because they're contractors, right? So they're taking care of all that aspect, and we don't really have to kind of manage the construction how we normally would do for our other properties here. So that's great as well. We kind of just look at kind of like a high level, making sure everything's on schedule, selecting the design finishes and so forth, doing what we do best and have them do what they do best and so forth. So we just acquired that actually in I think in March, so towards the end of the first quarter, and we are under escrow to acquire a 12-unit, 100% vacant property across the street from that property, and also in South Lake Tahoe. And I remember when we went to go visit the Blackwood apartments, and we walked around the area, and we're like, man, what's this property over here? It was like under construction. It's 100% vacant. And I joked around with my partner, Paul. I was like, man, it'd be great if we had this one. We want this one. And we got it. Manifest it and we'll come.
What was the key to getting that one? Was it did it just happen to go on the market, or did you guys just try and work with a broker to contact the owner? Or how did you guys get that recent 12-unit that's vacant?
So the same broker that we work with on the 13-unit, the same broker that we work with on the 20-unit was the same broker that brought this 12-unit to us.
Okay.
Relationships.
And I'm just curious, so was the owner planning to sell anyways, or did you guys kind of insert yourself in that conversation to like not force him to sell, but like, hey, like, hey, we're interested. Like, how did that happen? Was it just a coincidence that that the owner wanted to sell?
I think we maybe so Paul's in charge of our asset acquisition, but I think we maybe kind of planted the seed with our broker. Hey, what's going on with this property over here, right? And then and we're gonna get my company Flight. We're kind of getting the reputation where, hey, we like vacant properties. That's what we do. And now we're getting kind of like that reputation, that track record. Hey, these guys like vacant properties. We can maybe offer it to Flight team, and maybe they might be interested in deal. So I mean, it was on market, so there was other offers we had to compete against. But I think what made us kind of stand out was we had the broker relationship. That's always important, right? We worked with these guys before, so I don't know if we had the highest offer, but always from a seller standpoint, they want assurance of closing, right? So it probably helped that our broker worked with us before and kind of had that track record and that that trust in us, and they can relay that back to the sellers and so forth. So luckily we got that. So that's gonna be exciting. We're hopefully gonna close that actually in a few weeks. So we're oversubscribed now, and we have people on the wait list for that. So that's gonna be an exciting property, and we got different strategies for that, where we might be looking for like one master lease with a pretty famous ski resort there. So we're can't give more details, but we're looking at options where that's just one tenant, and they're in charge of leasing up the units for their workers, their staff, and so forth. So that's exciting. It's almost like a triple N lease kind of agreement, right? With an industrial complex, but this was a residential and so forth. So that's happening with that.
Before we go to the next topic, I want to ask you one more question, Sherwin. Now, the fact that you have essentially 3 properties within a few blocks of each other, what do you think are the advantages of that? Like, do you feel like you have better control of that neighborhood and the rents, or what is, and obviously like construction wise, like your crews are easily able to go between, but like, what do you think the biggest advantages of like having 3 properties within a few blocks of each other?
Yeah, I mean, so the interesting thing is it's funny because we got the 13 unit and we're like, okay, let's sit on this property and see how it goes. Renovate a few units and see what market rates we go, build a track record. That way investors kind of trust, okay, we got to hold this South Lake Town market. And then the 20 unit came along and we're like, oh, we got to jump on this as well. Because we were just going to wait and see what happens with the 13 unit, but we got the 20 unit. And they were like, oh, great. Now we'll have like, what was that, 40 plus units in Salt Lake Tahoe. And now we got this 12 unit. Now we're increasing our the unit count. And for us, we see, it's economies of scale, right? We can take advantage of the economies of scale in terms of renovations, overall costs, property management strategies, which will benefit all these properties in this market. Because now it's like we have two units that we're rehabbing in our 13 unit and two in the 20 unit. Now we can deploy our construction team to work on all units at the same time, rather than one here, one there, one here. So especially in the South Lake Tahoe market where, you got to go up there and have teams. You sort of have to have teams in place. And what's great with our partner that we're working, or the construction company that we're working with there, they already have a team set in place because they have properties in South Lake Tahoe that they've renovated themselves. So that's what's great when we have boots on the ground that are experienced, that have worked in this market before. So obviously now we'll have these 12 vacant units that they're all going to be working on site, hopefully as much as they can every day or every week or whatever. And at the same time, if other units become vacant in the other properties or across the street, we can deploy a team there. It's economies of scale. It just saves money, saves costs instead of like redeploying teams back and forth. So,
and you're buying materials in bulk, and you can buy, probably get a little bit of a discount on whatever it is, flooring, paint, anything.
Oh yeah, an advantage too. I think we have a trailer or one of those containers in one of our other properties because we're looking at like we got to buy appliances now because there's a long lead time. We're like, let's buy them up, but where are we going to store it at? Oh, there's a container on one of our sites. We can put it there, but that we can put all the supplies for all the properties in that one container and take them out because it's on our property, so it's ours, right? So it's little stuff, and it's great having it right across the street because they just go. Contractors just go, boom, grab the stuff. So that's one advantage. And we kind of like to do that, like we did in there Sacramento. When we got to Sacramento, now we have like a bunch of units there, economies of scale there, same property management team, same construction team, and so forth. So that's part of the advantage of having multiple units or multiple properties within the same region or same location and so forth. So and then and speaking of that, the one property that's outside our region in Spokane is an update on our Wall Street storage property that we acquired last year as well. So this is another property we acquired, 100% vacant, but they're renovated, right? So really the value add is actually in the leasing out the units throughout the year. And as of end of the quarter, end of March, we were at 26.1 occupancy. So ahead of schedule, especially we closed in December over the holidays, had to prep during December, kind of like beginning of January, and leasing out like 26% of the units during the winter months there. We were ecstatic, and we were kind of excited because it was ahead of our projection, especially with the timing of the closing and so forth. And then I think as of we talked to our property manager there last Wednesday, and as of last Wednesday, I think it was like 33.4% occupied with 17 units on reserve. So we're kind of on track to kind of I think the lease up plan was 100% lease up maybe 11 or 12 year mark was what we kind of projected. So
it's 11 or 12 month mark.
Yeah, 11 or 12 month mark. Yeah, to be 100% vacant. So or close to 100% occupied. So we're excited because now we're entering the spring, summer months, school's starting or school's actually exiting. So maybe we'll get more units occupied there. So that's exciting for our storage. And that's sort of on, I don't want to say cruise control, but man, I kind of like storage units. You don't have to deal with residents and tenants and plumbing and all that. So we're like, this might be we're looking to expand our self-storage portfolio as well.
And you literally hired someone to do all the marketing for you, essentially. So like you're not even dealing with any of the lease up stuff or paperwork or qualifying people that, I mean, it's pretty hands off for you. I mean, obviously you have to go through the acquisition and the funding and the capital raise and
I mean,
everything like that. But the lease up part is now pretty much outsourced to your
property. Same like our multifamily properties. We have our property management company that we work with, on all our properties, that does all the lease up, all that stuff. Because we don't want to do it. Our time and skills are better spent elsewhere.
Yep.
Finding properties, rehabbing these properties, managing these construction teams, and so forth. So it's all about utilizing time, maximizing, and we don't mind paying for those services, because at the end of the day, it's going to save us time and money if we were to do it ourselves or so forth. Because I don't want to be, and plus we didn't have experience of managing a self-storage facility. So we're going to hire a professional company that does it, that knows the market, that has done it before, and it's nothing new to them. So it's great. It's a great team, and we're looking to kind of see where it goes in Q2 and so forth. So, and then obviously trying to work on this real estate talk show with you, Tyler. And that's always I'm trying to increase kind of like my online presence, and rather than being, I know we hate the word, like, could be influencers, not being that, but more just sharing our experiences and our journey with as many people as we can out there that hopefully can relate to us, and hopefully we can motivate and inspire, right? So I've done a lot of the talking so far, so it's your turn to talk.
I was going to mention, I feel like I've definitely seen you more active on like Twitter, for example. And I think I always go back to the theme of trying to just put value out there. And, one of our goals, I think we've now been doing this for technically about a year, which is crazy to think. I think we may have done our first episode May of last year.
We should take a look.
We still have a lot of content we haven't posted. I think you and I have to do a better job of taking clips and reposting that stuff like on our platforms. But, I really do believe that YouTube is a great platform, and I think audio is a good platform, and just us talking hopefully is providing value to you as listeners. As we're no experts, but we've done a few deals under, we have a few deals under our belt, whether it's in the personal space or the syndication space. So we just love talking real estate. So it's one of our goals to keep ramping this up and be more consistent on posting and just get more value out there. So that's a big goal of ours.
Yeah. I mean, when you and I first chatted about doing a show, we're like, it wouldn't be great if we just record
our talks.
What we'd be chatting about if I met up with you at a bar or at a coffee shop or a restaurant just to catch up. Hey, let's just record that. And because it's more casual, you're just kind of we're just going back and forth, exchanging ideas and so forth. Obviously for the show, we have some type of structure. You see us kind of peeking over like a little outline over here and there, but that's a little, our little cheat sheet, so we don't get too
sidetracked
topic, I guess. Right.
But the last thing I'll say kind of on this Q1 stuff is, at least from my perspective, is, again, I've got personal portfolio going. I'm evaluating a primary residence, but I'm also still looking for opportunity elsewhere. So if a good deal pops up, it's a great multifamily deal in the syndication space, I'm going to look at that. And maybe it's, okay, I'm not going to deploy all this cash into a primary, and I'm going to just keep going with the syndication stuff, because there's still good money to be made outside of, this market, specifically in the Bay Area. And I always love working with partners. And I started my investing career being very, we'll call it, independent and closed-minded. Like, I didn't want a partner. I wanted to own 100% equity in all of my properties. Like, that was that was the initial thought. It's buy a single family, buy a duplex, buy a fourplex, cash flow, get everything, do it all yourself. But I may have mentioned this before. I think a few years ago, I finally opened my eyes to the value of partnership. And as you and I, Sherwin, are trying to prioritize almost time more than money now, that's where, obviously there's a balance. There's always going to be a balance of time and money, but you can never get your time back. So, I am 100% on board with partnering and outsourcing, even if it means less equity. So that's where I'm also, always evaluating deals and opportunities outside. Doing things on my own. So
I mean, for me, that's always top of mind. That's time is my currency. I don't know if I say it all the time on the show, but it's always time for my family, time for my kids. And I'm making all these investments and all these different opportunities so I can give myself more time, free myself more time to spend more time with my family, spend more time with my kids, and spend more time going back home to Hawaii to see my family out of state and so forth. That's the number one goal. That's always the goal. It's not money. It's
Yeah.
time. A lot of people get, because, oh, you get all these real estate properties, make cash flow, that's great. But I'm doing it to free up my time. That's why I want to be lazy. I'm like, maybe I'm looking to, that's why I'm like, oh, maybe instead of getting a personal, like another 8-12 unit on our own, maybe we go into syndications and kind of be more passive and kind of let someone else do all the work. But, it's great because, I'm in control of my own time now. And when I had a 9 to 5 W-2 job, I didn't have that control. I had to be in the office at a certain time and work on a project, certain deadlines, and so forth. So just having this flexibility is always the goal. And real estate's a great platform and investment vehicle for me to achieve that. But I guess one thing before we end the show is like, what do you think about the market now? You think there's all this talk about inflation? I mean, there's inflation. Interest rates are rising. Oh, there's a housing bubble. It's going to burst and so forth. I mean, like, what are you seeing? I'll let you say, what are you seeing in the market just from your experience or perspective? And I'll let you know kind of like, kind of like our experience, is the market hot? Is it simmering, or no one's out there buying, or what's going on out there?
Yeah. I mean, I'll start with interest rates. I think that's a hot topic right now, especially in the real estate market. So what I'll say is, I've personally, as someone who is, and this is going to be hyper specific to where I live in my market, because as I mentioned 10 times already, I have been watching the market specifically in the Bay Area because I want to maybe buy something at the end of the year. And so I personally, in my location, have been seeing prices softening a little bit. I'm actually seeing, for the first time in a while, I feel like price cuts, like literally just browsing Zillow, I'll see actual price cuts of a significant amount, sometimes 25K, 50K. I've even seen 100K price cuts. So I don't know if that's 100% due to interest rates rising, but I think that's a factor. The unknowns are, yes, interest rates are rising. That means people can afford less of a house, but inventory is still so tight. So I don't know how that's going to line up, right? Like you would think that naturally, if inventory stays the same and interest rates go up, then prices should decrease because people can afford less house. People are going to be less interested in buying. Yeah. I haven't been following the inventory numbers closely, so I don't know how that's going to affect it. I would assume that prices would at least not go up as fast, and they're kind of simmering, like you said, maybe. I don't think they're going to, I don't foresee a crash per se, but I don't know, man. I mean, interest rates could go up to 6% soon. Maybe 7, who knows? I don't know, man, by the end of the year. So that's also kind of worrying me, not worrying me, but it just, again, I can afford less of a house as interest rates go up. So I don't know, man. I don't know what you're seeing in your world, whether that's, I don't even know which markets you would be tracking data. Obviously Sacramento, the Lake Tahoe area, maybe Phoenix or Las Vegas, but it's interesting how things are playing out right now. But we're also coming up on the spring and summer, which is also the hottest times to buy houses or properties in general. So it's like there's so many factors that have to be accounted for.
Yeah, I mean, like the Bay Area is a unique, special market. It's always hot, and and there's money here in the Bay Area. Yep. So it's like if someone wants a house, they'll get a house. I mean, there's all cash offers. They're
paying cash anyway, so that. If you're if you're a cash buyer, you don't even care about insurance. There's so many cash buyers in the Bay Area.
That was my other point. Was I remember when we were bidding on our house, this was maybe 2-3 years ago. We got outbid, all cash buyers. So who cares if their interest rates are high or not, right? Yep. I remember I told you this. Like I think when I first got my house in Oakland, our interest rate was I think 4.875, which is close to 5 where it's at right now. So it's just, I think people got, I don't say spoiled or jaded, but it was we were used to accustomed during the pandemic of 3% to whatever 2.75 interest rates, and people were like, "Oh, now it's hot," and it is a big difference. It's like $500 to $800 monthly difference in payments.
No, we got spoiled, man. When interest rates were, I mean, I know people that locked in sub 3% fixed rates, man. We got spoiled.
I mean, I took advantage. I refied my properties, dropped it down to a lower rate, and I'm like, wow, that's great. It's like it's funny because I can see my payments now is less than my payments 5 years ago or whatever it was at a higher rate. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. And it's funny, I had a conversation with my mom the other day. I was like, Mom, what was your interest rates back in the day? She was like, it's like 15%. like almost like a credit card, right?
Yeah.
This was like way back in the, I think it was like 80s or 90s, and we're like 5%. Oh my God, what's going on? But it's to me, 5% is still good. It's not as good as 3 for sure.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. I mean, like I think I tweeted the other day, just driving around our neighborhood, I'm seeing a lot of, this is for single family homes, you know, around my area, because I'm seeing a lot of like coming soon signs coming up, right? So I've noticed it a lot more. I don't know if because of my mindset's a little bit different looking at these for sale signs a lot. See, but I'm noticing. I think inventory is gonna increase maybe over the spring, because maybe people are seeing, like you're saying, oh, interest rates are rising, we better exit now before
they get too high.
Before you get too high. And it's like a double-edged sword. I remember talking to my real estate broker agent. She was like, it may be good because if interest rates are rising, it may be more inclined for people to buy right now before they go higher. And or the opposite, where they're like, oh, we're gonna wait till it drops lower for us to buy.
Yeah.
So I think it may be the former, where, hey, let's buy now before it goes higher because we want to buy a house now and so forth. But I think because
the FOMO feeling, they want to get in before it gets too high.
Yeah. But then it's also, now we're in this endemic phase of COVID, right? People are going back to the office, going back to work. People are kind of like this housing frenzy the past 2 years. Oh, I'm working from home. I hate where I live. I want to buy someplace bigger. I want to buy someplace out of state now or wherever. So it's all these different factors, but I think the Bay Area is going to stay hot. I mean, for us personally, on our multifamily portfolio, we made offers. Like I think I mentioned this property in San Jose, 7 or 9 other offers. We were shortlisted, but we pulled our offer because there was offers like up to maybe over almost $1 million over asking price.
That's so crazy,
that's all. Yeah, that's how the market. We have 2 offers on the table. Another property in San Jose, another property in Belmont that we saw this past last week. That property in Belmont has multiple offers on that. So there's people out there investing. The market's hot because inventory is low right now, and we know it's hot too because as you said, you increase rents in your Midwest. We've did rent notifications for all our properties throughout Sacramento, San Jose, and so forth for eligible residents to increase those rents as well. And we're getting the rates now for rehab properties. We're getting the rates a lot higher than we would get like a year ago because of where we're at right now. During the economy and the market. So I mean, Bay Area is pretty unique. We'll see what happens. I mean, San Jose is picking up again. People are going back to work now, Google and all that stuff. And we're seeing it to kind of stabilize or get back on track to where it was and sort of maybe increasing a little bit more. Cause I don't know. I think people are still buying houses. I live in a new development here in Dublin, and there's a new set of model homes that just opened up. I just looked at their website this morning. There's like three of the model homes are temporarily sold out already, and it just went on the market.
Jeez.
So people
are still buying. Well, the other thing I think about too is, and then I thought like when interest rates started rising, I'd also think about, a lot of these syndications, including the ones that you're in and the ones that I'm in with you, like a lot of these syndication plans, right? It's like to exit in 3 to 5 years. So I also wonder, is that going to affect the exit price for multifamily? But I don't know. I guess to your point, with the fact that folks are paying $1 million over asking, maybe not.
Yeah, it depends on the market too. We'll see. We're gearing up one of our San Jose properties to exit this year, and that kind of like affect our other San Jose property as well. But the good thing about real estate, it's like if the market's down, we can just refinance. Refinance and hold. I mean, we underwrite these deals 3 to 5 years, right? And I mean, for my company, we've been fortunate to exit average like 17 months. So now when we hold a deal like 24 months, we're like,
people are like, what's going on, dude?
Oh my God. We're like behind schedule. We're like, no. And then, and obviously like a couple of years ago, we were looking at these, maybe 90 to 100% vacant or occupied properties, which it takes time to turn those units. Now we're getting properties that are like maybe 50 to 100% vacant, which is a lot faster for that. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens this year. And we carefully monitor the market. I mean, for us, for my company Flight, number one thing is we always have the investors' interest in mind, what's best for them, and making sure that we meet the performer numbers that, we projected in the offering memorandum and so forth. So I don't know. I mean, that's a good kind of like the fun part of like, would you rather, like, it goes back to your other question before, sort of like your personal thing, would you rather buy now or wait?
So I don't know. My philosophy this is not going to be a super technical or detailed answer, but like my philosophy is frankly never time the market. Like because there's never going to, no one can predict the future. This is super cliche, but no one has a crystal ball. If you find a deal that pencils out, you got to go for it. That's my philosophy. Like, even if let's say your interest rate is 7%, but it still pencils out, like, just go for it. There's so many options in real estate. And the other cliche is like, you should never time the market. It's all about the timing in the market. Like, how long you've been in the market, how long, like, take action, get those deals under your belt, because I don't know, there's just so many factors and benefits to getting a property under your name. Even if the numbers aren't perfect right when you get it, like, you can never find that perfect property with the perfect numbers and the perfect location. Just get in the game, and there's so many options, whether it's, I don't know. There's that. I never try and time the market. And I also just try and not let these outside factors affect my philosophy too much. So, I mean, the first properties I ever bought, dude, like, this is going to sound not that high, but like, I was buying over 5%. I had mortgages on my properties at like 5.25%. So, like, we're back to where I started,
my property in Sacramento too, 5.75. I refinanced that bad boy. So now I'm making good cash flow.
Exactly.
I mean, but now that's what I could get back then for like a investment property, not owner occupied property. I'm like, oh, that's great. It's still 5.
Take it, man.
It's still around the 5 range and so forth. I mean, talk about cliches. It's like, I think I heard this one time, like, the best time to buy real estate is
yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah. I was gonna say yesterday, last year or whatever. That's something. The best time to buy real estate is whenever it's best for you. So good investors make money in the down market. Good investors make money in the down market. Good investors, like, they make their investment work, right? They see like that diamond in the rough and so forth. But I think
the one thing I'll say is, again, there's no perfect time to time the market, but if you somehow have intelligence or data that is predicting a crash, and you're smart enough to just hoard cash and deploy it, then good for you, man. Like, that's the biggest. I mean, everyone makes the most money during the crashes. So if you can somehow foresee a crash, then yes. But I don't have the knowledge to foresee a crash. or what I'll say is, hopefully, if and when a crash happens, you have enough capital on the sidelines to deploy.
Yep, exactly.
That's all I'll say is.
That's good. Well, that was a good, I guess to end it, I have it's like Tony Robbins. I ran out this quote for Tony Robbins. Like, I mean, it's pretty popular. Like, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. So it's just, I mean, you and I, we're always trying to motivate, just go out there, take action. If you keep doing the same thing, what you always done, you're never going to go where you're going to go. Just get out of your comfort zone. I mean, for me, if I never partner up with that one deal with my partner, Paul, in the 16 unit, that sort of snowballed the whole multifamily syndication process. Now I have a, private equity firm, Flight. And if I did just partner up and get on my comfort zone of, hey, I want to do everything on my own, but now maybe partner up. Hey, I don't want to share the rewards, but if it gets me to scale where I want to be, I get to mitigate my risks and so forth. So that's sort of like the benefits of looking elsewhere and keeping your mind open to different types of investment options and investment strategy and so forth, right? So,
cool. I really like that quote, actually, Sherwin, because I was actually like I had a family lunch, we'll call it, yesterday with some older family friends that are, they're retired. I've known them for years, but I was talking to one of my family friends yesterday, and he's in his 60s now. He's retired, but he's, he had his own dental practice and he owns real estate. And he mentioned to me again, he's like, Tyler, you're still young, but like, make sure you are pushing yourself outside of the comfort zone and not getting into a routine, because literally if your days and weeks are wake up, answer emails, hop on Zoom, and then go, make dinner, watch Netflix, go to sleep, like, you could literally just go through 10 years of your life and not make any changes. So to your point, and to that quote, like, if you don't make changes, and if you don't seek discomfort and find ways to get out of your comfort zone, whether that's making an offer on a property or trying to really craft your life, if you don't try and actively craft the life you want, it's just going to be the same for 10, 20, 30 years. and you might be there 65 years old on, hopefully not your deathbed, but in bed, thinking about what did I just do the last 40 years of my life? And you just have to get out of the routine. You have to force yourself out of routine and really work on ways to craft the life that you want. Otherwise, it's all going to be the same, and you're going to be sitting on your bed, hopefully not depressed, but kind of sad maybe. So anyway, that's the last thing I want to bring up is get outside, do things, take action, have fun, man. Enjoy your life.
That was it. Yeah, enjoy your life. I saw something online the other day that we keep rambling, but like it's like I think the average age that people retire is like 65 to 67. The average lifespan for someone is like, what is it? I think 70 or 80.
75 or 80. Yeah.
Right. So you've been working your life for like 40 plus years. You retire at 65, 67. You have like 5 to 10 years of retirement life to enjoy.
Yeah.
Right. So
and unfortunately, those are usually your, least healthy years too.
Yeah. Your latter years where, like me, I have like injuries on my back and all that. Like I have body ache now when I wake up, but just I do what you need to do in life right now so you can enjoy life how you want to enjoy right now. I have a lot of friends like, hey, I'm doing this now, so later on I have free time to spend with my kids. But man, spend time with them when they're 5 years old versus like 13. It's a lot different, man. It's a lot different. So anyways, we're rambling on. This is a good quarterly update, I guess.
This is a good quarterly update. It's a good life update. It's a good philosophy update.
Yeah.
I mean, the last thing is, hey, keep working forward, pushing forward, hit your goals and work hard, but also have fun and break the cycle and routine of your life that hopefully it's not monotonous, but if it is, like, make some changes.
Yeah. So to our listeners, I guess, don't forget to like or subscribe. Put some suggestions of, we're always evolving this show of what kind of topics you want us to talk about. We're mainly focused on syndications, but, we brought up, try to change it up, talk about kind of like our updates, our life and our quarterly goals this past, quarter and, looking forward to what's coming up this year, so we'll see what's up. Yep. So stay tuned for more episodes from Real Estate Real Talk Show. I'm Sherwin G. Oh, I'm doing my intro. I'm doing the intro. Talk. Yeah, I'm doing. I know. I forgot the show. Sorry.
And our outro, Sherwin, is it's been real, dude.
Oh yeah, it's been real, guys. So catch you guys in the next one. All right, see you guys.
All right, take care.
Take care. Real.